Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
At first, it seemed a flawless repeat of the 24 previous shuttle launches from Kennedy Space Center. But a minute later, the historic tragedy.
15 seconds, velocity 2,900 feet per second.
For the crowd gathered at the Cape, there was the elation of witnessing the stunning launch, then the shock announcement.
We have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. 15 seconds, velocity 20.
Only 4 hours later, the first word from stunned NASA officials.
February of 1962. From the beginning, the space program was more than a scientific experiment. It was a matter of national pride and national security.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
But the road to the moon was a rocky one. In 1967, the first Apollo flight was set to go. Its 3 astronauts suited up for a test run. But tragedy struck when a fire broke out inside the spacecraft cabin. All 3 lost their lives. It was the first, and until now, the last fatalities in the U.S. space program. But NASA pressed on to the moon. And 5 Apollo flights later, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin landed their lunar module on the moon while Michael Collins circled in the main spacecraft. Armstrong was the first to step onto the surface.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
NASA landed crews on the moon 5 more times. With the U.S. clearly on top in the space race, NASA let military considerations take a back seat for a while and concentrated on science. Skylab, the first U.S. space station, was launched in 1973. 3 crews of 3 astronauts each lived and worked aboard Skylab for a total of 171 days. Secure in their superiority, the U.S. agreed to a joint space mission with the Soviet Union, the Apollo-Soyuz test project. 3 American astronauts and 2 Soviet cosmonauts met in mid-orbit and remained linked for 2 days to conduct astronomical, medical, and technical experiments. But now, Congress wanted a return on their space investment. Billions of dollars had been poured into NASA coffers, so the Space Shuttle program was designed as a money-making venture. Business needed the shuttle to launch an increasing number of lucrative satellites. The military wanted the shuttle because of its growing research into space surveillance and later, space weapons. The 70s found NASA researchers back at the drawing board, working almost non-stop to develop this space vehicle that could be launched into space and returned much like an airplane. On November 24th, 1980, the first space shuttle rolled out of the hangar. Its name, Columbia. It marked a new era in space exploration. 6 months later, Columbia made its first trip into space. The flight lasted just over 54 hours. Since then, 3 other shuttlecrafts have been built: Challenger, Discovery, and Atlantis. With each flight, NASA became more proficient in launching satellites and looked to the future with the construction of a huge robot arm that can lift heavy loads in mid-orbit. NASA's next project, building the first permanent space station by the early 1990s. At least, that was the plan before Challenger's tragedy.